Afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Today, guys, got another watch review for you, and this is another Rolex Submariner Homage. Now, I've featured many Rolex Submariner Homages on this channel. Most of the ones I've featured are really probably the best values you can get in the watch community, right, or in the watch world. There's lots of different companies make them. There's lots of different brands out there, but in my experience, in all honesty, I don't really need to look any further. Now, everybody's going to have a different idea of what they're looking for in a watch. I think a lot of times people, when they look for a watch, whether they mean to do it or not, they really let price determine quality. And when they spend more, they have to rationalize why they spent more. It's hard for a lot of folks to wrap their brain around the fact that maybe you just overpaid. Maybe you just paid more for something when you really didn't have to. So a lot of people will actually rationalize, why it's better. And mainly, the main way they do that is by bashing other brands. Instead of stating, hey, this has this particular feature, they never actually state the feature that the watch actually has, which makes it cost more than another one. They just basically bash the other brand in order to rationalize why the one they purchased is better. So if you're in the market for a Submariner Homage, look no further. This is one of the many greats that I've reviewed on this channel, and this is by Addiesdive. Now this is, if you're a watch guy, you're a watch collector, a watch guru, whatever your, whatever your stance is or your level of expertise, this is hands down one of the best valued Submariner homages out there. And now the word Submariner homage or homage basically means to pay tribute to something. Now it's never a word that I really like, and for the subscribers who watch me, I know some of this is kind of repetitive. My videos are kind of the same style, but remember folks, a lot of people who watch me, most of my views come from people who are not subscribed. Now, let's hope they don't watch one and they don't want to come back. But, you know what I mean? Most of the views that I get are from people who are just browsing recommended videos. And a lot of people don't spend tons of time on YouTube, so they may not subscribe. They may not become, a fan of the channel and constantly coming back for more and more and more. So we have to kind of, when we do these videos or when I do these videos, I like to pretend that every single person who watches this video or has never been to my channel before, it gets the same spiel. And so with a homage, it's basically a copy. It's a really nice way of saying, hey, this company ripped off a design. Now, let's face it, something like the Submariner is a watch that's not really over the top. It's very simple in design. It's not something that's like so unique that when brands rip it off, it's like, wow, you guys really couldn't come up with something on your own. I mean, it doesn't really take much for a watch to start to look like a Submariner, right? There's so many different watches out there that are really not Submariner homages that are just very similar because it's basically a plain watch, whether you like it or not. Now, I'm not stating I don't like the Submariner style watches. I'm just stating that I'll never buy a Rolex because it's just way too much money when you can get stuff like this for way cheaper. The only reason I would ever want to buy one is if I wanted to show off that I spent a ton of money on a watch. And for me, I'm not that kind of person, so it's just not something I want to do. I don't want to drop $10,000, $12,000 on a watch. And let's face it, most people are going to give this the same amount of attention, and that's not a lot. Most people don't really notice watches like this. Now, that shouldn't dissuade you from buying what you want to buy, but I do think if you are a fan of the Submariner and it's a watch that's kind of always been on your radar, don't think that you have to spend that kind of money to get a crazy quality watch, right? There's not, I know a lot of folks like to make a lot of these watch reviewers out there, the Rolex fans, the watch snobs I call them, like to really emphasize that you're getting some amazing quality watch. And don't get me wrong, Rolex is an amazing quality watch, but it doesn't make these watches inferior. I mean, they're so close, it really, again, to me, there's no point. And there's lots of guys who share that same sentiment, the same mentality towards brands like that. So, without further ado, let's check out the Addiesdive. I mean, this checks all the boxes for a lot of whether you're a watch snob looking for an affordable, everyday option you don't have to worry about getting stolen, whatever your reason, whether you like me, whether you hate me, this really does check the boxes for a lot of folks. So let's just get a couple close-ups here. I'll throw some close-ups during the video, and we're going to just talk about the specs and then show you what it looks like on the wrist. Really nice glossy face on this. Again, is this any glossier or I'm kind of making fun of somebody here when I say this, deeper black, than a Rolex. Side by side, black is black, folks. It's either you have a dark black or you have like a more of a charcoal black or a high gloss black versus a matte finish black. This thing, I mean, it's It's very high glossed, and it does have that ceramic bezel insert, which is something that I do like in a style, a watch like this, with this particular style. I like when you have that mirror polished gloss black face with that really sharp gloss black ceramic bezel. It just brings the whole face right into the bezel. Very cool looking. Is it over the top unique? No, many other brands do it, but Addiesdive does it as well as any of the other ones. So let's talk about, you guys know I'm a huge Invicta fan if you've been to the channel before, you've seen me before, but I like all watches, and this is just another example of an amazing value watch. Now, when we look at the different watches out there that are kind of in this price point, that are going to give you this kind of quality, we have brands like Pagani Design, we have brands like Steel Dive, a lot of the AliExpress brands you're going to find, of course, on AliExpress, but you won't just find them there. You're going to find them on eBay, you're going to find them on Amazon. Most of those brands, in my opinion, it's like they all come out of the same factory, and we'll never know that, but I can tell you, if you compare something like this, compare it to a Pagani, they're on par. Steel Dive, on par. Compare it to like some of the Legis out there, I'd say this is nicer. I would even go as far as saying that this would be my take over even an Invicta Pro Diver. Now, not to say the Invicta Pro Diver, those other watches aren't fantastic, but I do think you're checking all the boxes here that most of us look for. Not so much for me, some of those check boxes, but we'll talk about them. And of course, I just think when you're spending about $100 for a watch, again, depending on price, because sometimes like Christmas time, like now, you can get a Pro Diver for like $65 with the same automatic movement. It just depends, I'd say if you're going to spend $100 on a Pro Diver, or you have the option to get this, I would get the Addiesdive over the Pro Diver. Now, that's not to say that Pro Diver is not great, but I do think this is an exceptional value. So let's talk about those check boxes. So you have that ceramic bezel insert. Again, a check box for many folks. My check boxes with a watch are, number one, do I like it? Do I like the way it looks? So obviously, a Rolex Submariner style is really pretty simple, clean, simple, classic. It's not, I don't think anybody could look at this style, this particular look, and say it's ugly. It's a good looking watch. It's simple. It's very versatile. You can wear it with a suit. You can, of course, remember, when I talk about wearing what you want, you can wear whatever you want with a suit. But I do think, this is the kind of versatile watch, I think, that blends, in my opinion, a little better. If you're getting kind of dressed up, you want to keep it kind of classy, I think that you can wear this with jeans, you can wear this with the leather jacket, you can wear this dressed up, dressed down, in the pool, swimsuit, whatever the case may be. I don't think anybody will argue that the Submariner is a super versatile watch. Much as I like Invicta and some of the huge Sea Hunters and giant timepieces, I wouldn't necessarily wear a giant Sea Hunter if I was getting dressed up for like a nice wedding and keeping it clean and simple. If I was looking kind of showboat, be real loud and obnoxious, absolutely. But, and then that depends on everybody's personality, But I do think this is very versatile. All right, so checkbox. Do you like it? I do, absolutely. Number two checkbox for me, what is it made out of? Is it 316 stainless steel? Is it 904? Is it gold? Is it platinum? Of course, for guys who, like myself, who are never going to spend that kind of money in a watch, obviously it's not going to be gold, it's not going to be platinum, it's not going to be white gold. But it is 316 stainless steel, which is all you really need in a watch. 904, great, more corrosion resistant. That's kind of a Rolex proprietary thing. Maybe another company does it, I'm not 100% sure, but really Rolex is one of the few people really using that, and there's a reason for it. It's unnecessary. It's just another way Rolex gets to charge you more for a stainless steel watch. Oh, it's 904, it's better. Well, on paper, that might be true as far as acidic corrosion, but, like I said before in many other videos, unless you're going to spend your life, you're going to become a shark or a mermaid, and you're just going to live on the bottom of the ocean, you're going to join Aquaman and his team down there, it's not really going to make any difference. Any watch, no matter what it is, you should not leave salt. You could go in the ocean, go swimming, right? Let's spend a day at the beach, and then afterwards, no matter what you're wearing, you should rinse it off with fresh water. That's kind of common sense. So really, there's really no point in going 904. From what I've been told, 904 is a little bit softer, and I think the reason Rolex uses that is for the pre-owned market. It's so jewelers and secondhand sellers can polish those back to more perfect condition than something that's a little bit harder, right? So again, whatever you may have your own check boxes. For me, 316 is all you really need. And the next check box for me is what kind of movement does it have? I don't discriminate against whether quartz or automatic, but I always will gravitate more towards an automatic watch. It's not as accurate as a quartz, but I don't know, it's just a mental thing, and I think a lot of us share that. I like the idea of never have to worry about the battery. You know, it's just always going to work. You pick it up as long as everything's, you know, nothing's broken or anything like that. It's great. You wear it, it winds itself. You can self-wind this particular one. This is powered by an NH35. So again, automatic movement, it checks the box for me. And then what kind of movement is it? This is a Seiko NH35, arguably one of the best affordable automatic movements on the block. So that checks the box. After that, you know, what kind of crystal, what kind of water resistance? For me personally, I don't really care. You know, the crystals, you hear guys all day long, has to be sapphire, has to be sapphire. You know, and I think a lot of times guys, you know, when they're looking for a watch, they shop these specs when really it doesn't really make a difference. You know, I can understand a guy who every other watch he's had that wasn't sapphire, he scratched, you know, but that doesn't really happen. You know, I highly doubt that really happens. I have 200 watches. They're all different kind of crystals. I've never scratched any of them. So, but it might be a checkbox for you, and that's okay. This has that sapphire crystal. And then, of course, another, which is really interesting about you know, Addiesdive, is that I feel like this is a company who actually really listens to what the guys, you know, whether right or wrong. I think that I've heard it by a lot of people, and I don't really agree with this, but you know, I've heard a lot of people, one gripe they have with like the Invicta Pro Divers, a lot of times it'll say Invicta. Addiesdive really like this is a deleted down version. There's nothing on this other than the Addiesdive name on the dial, which, you know, I mean, to me is really, I think Addiesdive has a great logo. I mean, it's like it looks like a couple of tridents, and it could be a skull. I can't really see it too close here. It looks to be like maybe a couple tridents and a skull, or these actually might be a couple harpoons in a skull. Like this picture they have here, I can't get in close enough, and on my eyes, without a jeweler's loupe, I really can't tell. But I think it's a great looking. I think the name is great, and I think the logo is fantastic. So, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing that on the crown. So most of the time when you see watches, at the minimum, you usually see it on the face, the case back, some kind of signed crown, usually the clasp. Addiesdive didn't put it anywhere but the face. And so that might be something that some folks really like, and I think that, you know, does it make a difference for me that it doesn't have branding all over the place? It doesn't, you know. I mean, when you think about the way I kind of like the way I customize cars, generally I'll always debadge my cars, so I kind of get that, you know. It's a clean, simple look, but I do like the Addiesdive name. But I think it's great they put it right on the face. You know, I don't know how most people feel in the Invicta community, or you know, across the board in the watch community, but you know, I think we get the point. You have your name on it one spot, I think that's really enough. But like I said, it's not something that, you know, if it had Addiesdive all over the place, it wouldn't discriminate me. I wouldn't discriminate. It wouldn't be something I'd be like, ah, too much. Because really, who gives a shit? I mean, honestly. So, but you may be different, and that's totally okay. Bezel action on this, you know, I always joke a lot of times when it comes to bezel action. I'll tell you, this is a pretty awesome bezel action. It's very sleek. Maybe sleek's not the wrong word. It's very easy to turn. You get a decent grip on it, although these bezels on the Submariner style watches is never great, not like a gear edge bezel. But you know, this is not, I'm not whining about this. This is nonsense to me for people to worry about. But the bezel action's awesome. No backplate that I can tell. And to be honest with you, you know, every watch is a little bit different. I never really have any gripes with bezel movement or anything like that. The only watch I have in my collection I kind of compare this to is my Addiesdive Bathyscaphe. Very similar ratcheting movement on this. What else? It looks like a screw-on case back. Again, ceramic bezel insert and Lume on this. This is where Addiesdive also knocks it out of the park. The Zoom is not Zoom. The Lume is fantastic. Did I say Zoom? What is this, a camcorder? No, the Lume on this is great. We have two different colors. We have more of that green colored Lume on the face, and then the bezel has more of like that bluish color. Both are fantastic. I can't show you on this video, but I'll throw some pictures up during the video so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Far superior to any Invicta. I mean, so, as much as I love Invicta, and I think Invicta's fantastic, I always will, I do think this is an exceptional value, and I think that if you're in the market for a Submariner Homage watch, I would really look no further. This is great. You know, I don't really have any real solid evidence to back up the fact on why I might even choose this over a Pagani design. I have many Paganis, I like them too, but I don't know, something about this one just feels really great. What else? 28 ATMs of water resistance, 200 meters. Some guys are like, oh, I wish these watches had more. It's like most people are just swimming. You know, I mean, if you're an actual diver and your life's dependent upon timing, then it's a different kind of purchase. You know what I mean? But you can swim this. You can take it in the hot tub, take it in the shower. You know, whatever. They say don't take it in hot water, but I do it all the time. I never have a problem. Do so at your own risk. And let's talk about price point on this. So right now it's $129.99 on Amazon. Link is in the description. I'll throw the link up during the video. If you want to get the green with the green bezel insert, you're looking at $123.59, odd number. And of course, then if you want the blue, which is fantastic, $119.99. Kind of wish I would have got the blue, just because I have a lot of the black face watches. I don't have a lot of that royal blue, and it's a great looking color with that bezel insert. Right now, again, about $129. The blue's $119, but you have a $20 off coupon today. So this particular one, $109. Exceptional value. If you're spending $100 on Invicta, I would steer, if you know, providing this is the look you want, the black on black, I would steer you towards Addiesdive. But right now you get some great Invicta deals. I got one coming in the all red, which you're not going to find something like that by Addiesdive. You know, they're more of the classic colors and more of the classic style. So, you know, I think, you know, again, I got my Pro Diver for, what was it? There was a shipping charge, and this is thank you, Mr. Perez. Was nice enough to gift me a watch for amazing. It always blows me away the generosity of some folks in this world for Christmas. So that'll be coming in the mail. You guys will be seeing that. I'm really excited because it's all that blood red, something I've been talking about for a while. That Invicta needs to do the red label. They're not calling it that, but this is kind of the color I'm talking about. We just need to have those gemstones or synthetic rubies on it. But it doesn't have that. Invicta will probably do it eventually. You heard it here first. But as of right now, it's awesome. I can't wait to get it. Look forward to reviewing that and comparing kind of these two. But you know, I mean, that was $60 plus $10 shipping, about 70, say $70. You know, they're getting close in price, but still $30 savings is pretty good. And Invicta always has some incredible deals. But again, maybe you have a lot of, you know, maybe you have a lot of Invictas in your collection. A lot of times that's why if I'm going to add a watch to my collection, if it's similar, for main reason I bought the gold Paganis, because I already have a lot of Invictas. So I wanted a different brand name. That's why I chose it. So definitely check out Addiesdive. I think you guys will be really happy with it. Clean, simple, classy, and it's a fantastic watch, exceptional value. So without further ado, let's throw it on the wrist. I'm about 5'8". I weigh about 182 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. This one's going to look like a guy my size, my height, my weight. I didn't mention the size, but because most folks know, you know, the size of a Submariner Homage, but they do, you know, they're all over the place sometimes with that 38s and 40s. This one is a 41 millimeter case, so 20 millimeter lug width, 47.6 lug to lug. Really, the most important thing people worry about, in all honesty, is just the diameter. And so at the bezel, you're looking at 41. The classic size. Although Rolex has now stepped up to 50 millimeters, so it's funny, I haven't heard any of the usual watch snobs mouthing off or saying anything. Really interesting. Cats kind of got their tongue there for those guys who have bashed on Invictas over the years. But we'll see what comes. We'll see what videos come out in the not too distant future. But yeah, I mean, you can tell by this video. I mean, look at the gloss on that. Absolutely beautiful. It's a great looking watch. You know, is it unique? No, not really, but it's a great watch, and I'm really happy Addiesdive was nice enough to send this in for collaboration. Awesome watch. Check it out. Look, you know, I highly recommend it. If you are in the market for maybe something different than the Submariner, Addiesdive mainly makes homage watches. They do have, again, the link is in the description. Check out their Amazon store. They have some tuna homages. They have the other one they sent me a while back is the Sumo homage, $149. Great looking watch, and you'll see it when you go to their website and you look at the different watches they have. These are homages for different watches, but they're all very similar, you know. So you know, unless you're doing something really outside the box like Invicta, it's not, you know, or even Aragon, or even a lot of the Bulivas nowadays. You're not really doing anything, you know, really. You know, you can easily say that any of these are copies of this or that. So just, you know, buy what you like, buy what makes you happy, and just know for quality, you're getting a fantastic watch for a great value. So is it, you know, some folks ask me, you know, well, you can get this and this. Well, you know, yeah, there's going to be better values, going to be worse values. Always buy what really calls to you. And again, I think if you have a lot of pro divers in your collection and you don't have a black on black or some of those basic colors, the green, the blue, and you want to add one, then you know, I would definitely give this a go and give it a look. You know, how many Invictus do you need? You know, so give another brand a chance, and I think you'll be real happy. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day. Link is in the description, and take care.